What's up, y'all? It's your girl Sang, and today I'm going to be reacting to a video from Anton Daniels' channel titled Heated Debate About White People, Racism, and Discrimination with Anton Daniels and Six the Goddess. Let's go ahead and get into it.
So even in your progress, even in us moving forward, the racism is always an obstacle in there in some way.
I don't see it, Six, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I've ascended to some of the highest positions in corporate America. I've been able to become wealthier than the overwhelming majority of the white people in this country. And more importantly, I've seen people, even in those positions, not necessarily with regard to me, but I've seen people get overlooked because they are white in order for them to be able to meet certain criteria from people that may not even have been as qualified as their white counterpart, right?
See, I think you're oversimplifying it.
I can't oversimplify.
You're making it a matter of white person did not get this opportunity.
Well, I'm using that as an example. I'm using that as an example.
Let me say this before you go on, just real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
They always give something to at least one. Okay? And this is where it starts to get, because what I do know about you is you do succumb to white comfortability.
You think so?
Absolutely. You don't have no problem making white folks feel comfortable. Me, I don't give a damn.
I love white people.
Yeah, you don't mind going out your way to make them comfortable. So
what does she mean by that? Going out your way to make white people feel comfortable. What does that even mean? I'm gonna let them finish, but and it seems like we came in the middle of a conversation that was already happening, but I'm gonna let her see if she gets it off, because what does that even mean?
White people.
They will put like you in position for what you're doing right now to say okay, racism is not a thing, look at me. They
I
do
love
that
white
on
people,
purpose.
Six.
So you gotta look at it from bigger than just you. I think you.
But
look
I
from
love
just
black
your
people too.
perspective. It's not about loving.
So she thinks he gets put in his positions because he'll be like, look at me, nothing ever happens to me. Or maybe this is a thing, because it is. He doesn't let the baggage of racism keep him down. He does not care. If there's a white person that said, because I view it the same way, and I think that's where she's coming off at. They would better have a person like you up there than a person like me. No, we are all one, right? Like, don't get me wrong, segregation, racism, redlining, all that still happens, right? Right? But it's 2022. Let it go. We aren't going through anything that our grandparents went through, and our grandparents didn't go through as much as their grandparents went through, okay? We have a cakewalk compared to what our ancestors did, and we have opportunity to do whatever we want. So you can miss me with all that, like, get over it.
Nobody.
No, it is, Six. And I'm going to tell you why it is.
No one loves anyone but the only person that loves you is your kid.
No.
No one else loves you.
People adore. White people
adore
me.
No, they don't. Would they adore you if you didn't go out your way to make them feel comfortable all the time?
Yes.
Make you feel
comfortable? But all
comfortable?
I said was, yo.
Oh, okay. For those that don't know, I forget he does this sometimes. He'll take a piece of the interview and put it in the beginning, and then you saw how the AD popped up. That's his intro, and then so this is gonna be the real intro, I guess.
What makes you think that you can have say-so, and what happens when you just got here? And I said, well, when did you come here? He said 2015 or 2016 or something like that. And I'm like, what makes you think that you have just as much of a vested interest as what's happening
I mean,
here?
this is just a fact. This is factual. I don't get why this is so debatable. I mean, it's just a pure fact.
Next thing you know, of course, as usual, we know what happens. They do the response videos and all of that other stuff, which I'm cool with the response videos because, it just makes me more relevant. But now all of a sudden I'm FBA, which just 6 months ago, I was just hearing people talk about the fact that I'm not even pro-black in the first place. And I don't understand how anybody can say what I am or not when I got a black wife, I got a black daughter.
Facts.
I have black
Facts.
people working for me. The
Facts.
overwhelming majority
And
of the people
all
that
black
work for
people
me
supporting
are
you.
black people. Which
Facts.
that's not necessarily what I was looking for, but those are the people that I seen or rock with me the most, and so those are the people that are hired to be a part of what it is that I'm doing, right?
Facts.
But then people will still say either I'm not pro-black or now I'm FBA, and I don't really understand the whole thing, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to pick your brain about it, about what you thought about the whole thing. What do you think about the whole narrative behind when people say somebody is or isn't pro-black, or FBA, or ADOS, or all of that other type of stuff, in a general sense, what do you think? Where do you think that this is stemming from? What do you think that? Why do you think that this is such a hot issue right now?
The concept of FBA.
Yeah, everything with regard to FBA. Why do you think this is such
I think that
a huge issue?
people are searching for their niche. I think that this world is kind of upside down. I think people are searching for peace, searching for answers. I think with you, you tend to feel like racism don't exist, and I think that's when people.
Well, no,
be like,
it's not that I don't feel like it don't exist. Is that I refuse to let that be the sword that I die on, as far as preventing me from doing what it is that I need to do to create the best experiences.
Thank you. Like I said, it's 2022, okay? That's not going to be the reason I can't move up in the world, right? That's not going to be the reason if something bad happens to me. It's just because the white man trying to keep me down. We can't ever have nothing because of the white man. No. Like I said in another video, that is really a mentality of like middle class and down, right? When you start making money, nobody cares about your race. Nobody cares about any of that. They care about money, okay? They care about green. Are you a good person? Can they rock with you? That's all that matters. Everybody down here, right? And y'all remember, I grew up poor. I didn't grow up with money. So it's vastly different for how I'm living now, and I'm still moving up, right? So I done seen it at every level. I done seen black people not mess with other shades of black people because of colorism. I done seen black people not mess with black people because you act white, you talk proper. It's like, oh man, you sound so proper. You must got that good education. Nope, went to public school with you. Remember, we had the same classes. Goofy? Like, what are you talking about? If we all just treated each other correctly, this wouldn't even be such a big issue to begin with, right? Like I said, what we have to deal with as people in 2022, man, our ancestors would laugh. They would laugh. If they were, if they were able to come back today and see how the world is and how we could just walk around, all the races, just walk around, right? And be chilling and cool with each other and seeing how black people are able to get money and become millionaires and billionaires and stuff. They would be like, oh, this kind of cool. This pretty nice. Yet, you got people over here, there's still racism. There's still things we're dealing with. It's not nearly to the scale of our ancestors. It's so minimal now. And the fact that people keep wanting to use that as the excuse, that's the hill you want to die on. Like he said, I'm not dying on that hill. That's not going to be the reason why I don't get my life together. We're going to keep it going, but yeah.
Because
why it can't be, I acknowledge it exists. I know it's there.
Because most people are just looking to feel better. They're not looking to solve for their issues and their problems.
Well, you think it's important to understand the root of a problem?
You are.
What do you mean I am?
You may be looking to do that, understand the root of the problem. But I found that men don't operate like that. And when I see men operate in a space where they're looking for validation or they're looking for you to acknowledge it, and it's almost like, okay, I acknowledge it, now what? And they have no answers. And then they move over to the next platform and they want somebody else to acknowledge it. They're not actually doing nothing different.
Facts.
They're not doing the work. Right?
Facts.
And that's the argument that I have with them. I say, okay, I acknowledge it, but then if you pro-black and then I don't acknowledge racism, but I'm doing more for people that look like you.
Facts.
What does it mean to be pro-black if all you're doing is talking about it, but it doesn't manifest itself in anything other than you going to platform to platform?
Well, see, I think that's part of the problem. I think that the concept of being pro-black is like how much you're doing for other black people or how much you're holding hands and kumbaya with black people, and that's not what being pro-black is.
What is it?
Being pro-black is just simply loving yourself. It's simply putting yourself first. You know what I'm saying? All races are pro themselves, but they don't have a system trying to make them not be pro themselves, so they don't have to have a name.
That's true.
that all races are not pro themselves?
I don't believe that people are leaning towards what you just defined being pro-black is.
Yeah, they're not. When you pro-black, I don't know if y'all ever seen it, but every pro-black person I came across had this whole image, being super pro-black, super this, super that for the community, yet in the same breath are doing nothing for the community at all. They just always want to complain about something and do a protest for something. And you'd be like, well, what's the solution? How do we get from here, whatever you're complaining about, to the next point so we could try to work on it? But I'm mad and this shouldn't be happening. And you ain't pro if you ain't rocking with me doing all this. Bro, the whole Black Lives Matter movement, you know they finessed everybody. They finessed everybody. And they got off on your black anger. It didn't put nothing back into the black communities. Not one penny went back to y'all. They bought mansions for themselves. What, the chick it just redid her backyard in one of her mansions? What did y'all get? What did the black community get? What y'all get? Exactly. We got nothing. Nothing. But Black Lives Matter. Right? Pro-black. You know there's people not being friends with people. If you didn't have a little black square in your box, or if at the time, because it was a bunch of people that were saying it was a scam well before it then got put out there that it was a scam, right? And you'd be like, man, that's a scam. I'm not putting no money into that. What? How can you say that in your black? You're not really part of the community and the solution. It's like, because they're a scam, bro. Like, does my life matter? Yeah, everybody's lives matters. Like, everybody's does. I get what y'all trying to say. I get the narrative that's trying to be pushed. I get it. Execution was done horribly. But yeah, every black person I ever met, they was just some scammers. They were not about a solution and about doing anything in the community.
Well, see, this is the thing, Anton. Even when we talk about, being successful and making moves, you don't think that it is harder for a black man? You don't think that there's things put in place to make things harder for us or hold us back? Like, whereas other men can just exist and be and build, you don't think at all that being black is not to say a hindrance, but that we have to acknowledge that racism does exist, white supremacy does exist, because in everything from starting a business to getting a loan, the blackness can affect all of that. So I think that's what people are saying is, I don't think that being pro-black means, I just sit and complain about racism and don't do anything for myself. You can still do things for yourself, but even in the things you do for yourself, the dust from white supremacy is sprinkled all over.
I don't see it, Six.
You didn't see how Bank of America got in trouble having black homeowners with higher interest rates, adding another 1,000, 10.
Look, I get what she's saying. There's, like I said earlier, there's practices and establishments in place to try to stop you, to try to stop us. It's there. That's not going to hold me back. I'm sorry. I refuse to let it hold me back. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I'm going to keep pushing forward and doing what I got to do to get to where I got to go. That's not going to hold me back. Do things be frustrating sometimes? Sure. It does. I remember when we had our media company and we went to go look at our office. I literally, despite the money we pulled in, I remember the landlord being like, I don't know if I want to give this to y'all or not. Yet, our white buddies that also had a media company, and we was going to get the spaces right across from each other. They was like, oh, yeah, they didn't question us at all. It's like, yeah, I get it. That little step is slightly harder. But like I said in another video, we all don't start off on the same plane. Me starting off in 55th and St. Clair is going to have a rougher time making it in life than somebody starting off in Beverly Hills. It just is what it is, right? And this is what it is. Her mentioned the whole getting a business loan and all that. If we kept our money in our community, you realize we can just help each other start businesses and do things. You realize, I gotta put this fact out there. Do you realize the Jewish community, despite being the smallest population in the world, they carry the most wealth in the world? Now, how did that happen, right? After the Holocaust, when they all made their way over here to America. I'm talking about the ones in America. I don't know. This is going to be the example. When they made their way over here to America, they made it a thing. It's like in their Jewish law that they was only gonna help each other, right? It's like if I need somebody to work for me, it's gonna be another Jewish person, right? If I need to get something, I'm gonna get it from another Jewish person. If I need to take a loan, I'm gonna get it from one of my Jewish brethren. But I'm gonna put a thing on it where when I go to pay it back, there's no interest when you come to loaning money out to a fellow Jew, right? The wealth stayed in their community and they helped each other and built each other up. There's a reason why they carry the most wealth in the world. Yet, they're the smallest portion of the population. Why can't black people do that? Why can't we do that? Also, if it's so bad over here for us due to the racism, mind you, once again, 2022, we have it way better than our ancestors. We could do way more than our ancestors ever could. If it's so bad for us over here, how come when blacks come from other parts of the world, they make it happen? They come straight in, get to work, boom. They got stores set down. They starting to get their money together so they can create that generational wealth for their kids and whatnot. How come they don't let anything hold them back? And then it turns into the argument of, well, they don't understand the racism that we went through because they didn't go through with our ancestors and blah, blah, blah. But they still dealt with stuff where they came from. So what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? Y'all really gotta start letting a lot of that stuff go in your mind. Like, I understand none of that should have happened to our ancestors, and it's really messed up that it did. But we are so far in the future from that, right? Despite all the redlining and all the BS they still want to try to do to us, you can't stop us. You just can't. You can't stop us at this point, and you're never going to stop us. The ones that just want to stay put and be victims, you're going to stop them. But if you get out that mindset, hey, can't nobody stop you. Can't nobody stop you. You could be as rich as you want to be right now. Can't nobody stop you.
Tens of thousands of dollars. That's a small example. Even buying a home. As a black person, you have to wonder, you ain't seen black people get their house appraised and they appraise it for lower, then they have a white person do they get it higher. So even in your progress, even in us moving forward, the racism is always an obstacle in there in some way.
I don't see it, Six, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I've ascended to some of the highest positions in corporate America. I've been able to become wealthier than the overwhelming majority of the white people in this country. And more importantly, I've seen people, even in those positions, not necessarily with regard to me, but I've seen people get overlooked because they are white in order for them to be able to meet certain criteria from people that may not even have been as qualified as their white counterpart, right?
See, I think you're oversimplifying.
I can't oversimplify.
You're making it a matter of white person did not get this opportunity.
Well, I'm using that as an example.
That's an example. That's an example.
Before you go on, just
okay,
real quick.
Go ahead.
They always give something to at least one. Okay, and this is where it starts to get, because what I do know about you is you do succumb to white comfortability.
You think so?
Absolutely. You don't have no problem making white folks feel comfortable. Me, I don't give a damn.
I love white people.
Yeah, you don't mind going out your way to make them comfortable.
I love white people.
I really don't like that narrative. That's a horrible narrative. You succumb to white comfortability. Just be quiet. Just because he knows how to be himself around black people and white people, and he's just well liked. That's really all it is. That's all it is. I've seen people, when I was in management, look just like her, talk like her, act like her, and they were in management and had positions higher than me. So the thing where she's like, they always give at least one N-word something. The jobs I've had where I've moved up, there have been multiple black people. So what, are we all just that one special N-word that you talking about? Miss me with it.
They
Bad
will
take.
like you in position for what you're doing right now. To say, okay, racism is not a thing. Look at me. They
I
do
love
that
white
on
people,
purpose.
Six.
So you gotta look at it from bigger than just you. I think you.
But
look
I
from
love
just
black
your
people too.
perspective. It's not about loving nobody.
No, it is, Six.
No,
And I'm gonna tell you why it is.
No one loves anyone but the only person that loves you is your kids.
No.
No
that's
one
not
else
true.
loves you.
People adore. White people
No,
adore me.
No, they don't.
They adore me.
Would they
messing
adore
with her
you if
now?
you didn't go out your way to make them feel comfortable all the time?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't I don't agree with a lot that she said. Like I said, racism, discrimination, segregation, there's still little trickle effects of that in our society. It's 2022. You can get what you want. You can do what you want. It is what it is. Like, we have so much freedom. Our ancestors fought to get us to this level. I'm not complaining about no racism no more. Especially when, if we want to look at it on statistical facts, like the percentages they try to put out there for everything, when you really look at the big picture, it's not as bad as they be trying to make it out to be. You might see something happen to somebody from a cop. We don't know if it was a bad day or if they were intentionally being like racist, but then it like the narrative is pushed because, you know, if it's somebody doing something to like a black person, they push it that way, right? So that's what ends up happening. We see that and we be like, oh, all cops are racist, defund the police, or that's not really what it is. If you actually look at the numbers on like how much we are actually killed by the cops compared to how we are killing ourselves by getting abortions, the numbers are drastically different, right? Yeah, I don't agree with her take at all, but here's what it is. If y'all want to see me react to more videos just like this one, let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss when I drop a video. If I have to miss a day, the only way I can update you is through my social media, and the links to that is down in the description box below. Go ahead and follow me over there. So until next time, you already know who it is. It's Sang.